What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and yes, I have finally completed the game, and I will be talking a lot of spoilers. And I, in fact, got like 3 minutes into this review, and I was like, wait a minute, I forgot to put a spoiler warning, and I know people get pissed if you don't put a spoiler warning. So, spoilers. Spoilers. If you haven't played, go play it. Fantastic game. Um, yeah, I don't understand the hate. I mean, I understand where they're coming. I get it, but I don't feel it at all. Like really, I don't. Like wow, this game was awesome. Just from the gameplay, the graphics, of course, but the story. So many people hating on the story, and I really had to go check out why because I'd heard the game was very controversial, and one of the comments on one of my videos, was yeah, the game's very polarizing. I'll be curious to see. I don't understand why people hate the story. I mean, I get that people are pissed about what happens, but that's life. And honestly, I think it can be tied into something that it's something that I've discussed with my girlfriend before because she watches the show 13 Reasons Why. I probably never will, but she did tell me there's a character on there that everybody just hates his guts because of something he did, and then he ends up dying, and then all of a sudden they bring in another character that knows this guy that died a little bit more personally and starts to show a different side of him, like maybe this was because of his upbringing that he was such an asshole. And she told me that people in the comment section that were talking about it were just absolutely ripping into the show, saying, "Oh, it's so dumb. We don't want to see him in a better light. We don't want to know more about him." I'm like, that's life, okay? Like that's something that really frustrates me is that people want it to be so black and white. They want it to be, oh, you did this, you're a terrible person. Oh, you did this, oh, you're so nice. So many things I can relate to right now that I'm not going to get into politically. But yeah, that's what people want to see. They want to see it all black and white. They want to see good guy, bad guy. So whenever something decides to break that mold a little bit and try to make it to where, oh, the good guys may not be good guys anymore, and the bad guys, maybe they're just people too, everybody's up in arms. Especially when one of the characters does something like kill a main character from the previous game. Yeah, people are going to get pissed about that. I was upset at Abby too when she kills Joel. Don't get me wrong, I totally understand that. But really think about what the game is trying to show here. Because the thing is, I watched a couple reviews, didn't agree with anything being said. Because the reviews I watched were more like hating on the game and complaining about the story. And honestly, one that I watch, Jeremy Johns, somebody I like his reviews and typically I'll agree with him most of the time, but I totally disagree with his opinion on this one. Because he was talking about how, they're just trying to flip the script, they're trying to play with perspectives and show how perspectives mean everything. I think it's a story about the cycle of revenge and how that cycle of revenge can be detrimental not just to the people that are looking for revenge, but also the people around them. Because really look at what happens. First, Joel, trying to save Ellie's life, he kills all the fireflies because he doesn't want her to die, even though it means they don't get the cure. Does that, because of that, Abby loses her father. She decides, you know what, I'm going to track down Joel and I'm going to kill him. So she goes and does that, kills Joel. Because of that, Ellie now wants revenge on Abby. She tracks down all of these people, Tommy too, tracks down all these people that are involved in Joel's death and kills them one by one, just taking them out until they get to Abby. And then ultimately, because they did all this, Abby then turns and then goes and kills Jesse and nearly kills Ellie and Dina and Tommy. But they managed to survive. Like, all of these innocent people that were caught in the crossfire of Abby going after Joel and then Ellie going after Abby. I mean, all these people died that weren't even involved. And that's what the game's trying to show. It's trying to show that revenge doesn't help anybody. And I loved how they showed the two different sides of revenge. And not only that, but the two different sides of this world that they're living in now. So let's talk about that real quick. Because first of all, from Ellie's point of view, you see everything from her point of view first. You see Abby come in and kill Joel, which I did see something mention like, oh, but Joel, he's so smart and he's so cautious. Why would he just help this random girl? It's been 4 years. He's been living in this town with a bunch of other people. He's no longer a smuggler and a mercenary. He's been around a bunch of other people. Yeah, they would hesitate to trust anyone right off the bat, but at the same time, all their lives were in danger. They were running away from a bunch of infected. They really didn't have a choice but to trust her for the moment, to not only save her life, because they're trying to be helpful, but also save their own lives. So, and it's not like she was trying to pretend, like they referenced that one guy that was pretending to be hurt in the first game. This was not that. This was her. She was running away from all these infected because she got caught up in a horde, and then they helped her out of the situation, and then they managed to get back to her group. And yeah, it got unlucky that just happened to be the first time that they ran into a situation like that. But anyway, so that happens. You see it from Abby's point of view, helping. I completely understand the frustration toward her because, yeah, it is kind of dickish that Tommy and Joel helped her out of that situation, and yet she still kills Joel anyway. But Ellie sees Abby kill him, and so then she's set on this path of revenge. Dina and Jesse get drawn into it. Tommy, of course, goes out on his own as well. And so it's just this cycle of they're tracking down all these different people. They're going through all these wolves. And you hear about the wolves and you hear about the scars, but you don't really know what's going on. And so it's fun to watch that part of it. Because honestly, as I'm playing, I'm just like, yeah, get them. Come on, Ellie, you got to do it. I was a little... There was a part of me that I'm like, why do they have to use dogs, though? Why do they have to use dogs? And what's funny is, like, in the moment you're thinking, I just got to keep Ellie safe. And so, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of killing dogs. But, it's part of the game. You know that. But then they flip that, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, they're throwing ball, and I kill this dog later. Oh, no. Anyways, but you see all of this, and it leads to those moments where you kill all of these people that you know were involved, but you still can't find Abby. And then ultimately at the end, Jesse gets shot and killed, and then there's Abby. So I'm just like, all of this was building up to this moment. Pause there. Let's look at it from Abby's point of view. And what's interesting is where Ellie was building up, she was getting more and more desperate, more and more vicious, and just trying to track down Abby. She wanted this revenge. She wanted it so badly that she was willing to sacrifice Tommy to go out to where she knows Abby is. So you see her growing in the wrong way. Abby's point of view, she's a terrible person. Probably already hate her for what she did to Joel. But then you start to meet the people connected to her, the people that helped her kill Joel. You start to meet these wolves. You start to see them go out. They're just fighting against the scars. They're basically just in a battle. And her story goes in the opposite direction of Ellie's, where Ellie went from somebody who just really cared about Joel, very human reason for wanting to track down Abby, but got more and more desperate and more inhuman in the way she was tracking down Abby, to the point where she was torturing people to do it. Abby was somebody who went from very evil person, tortures Joel because of revenge for her father, and then slowly starts to grow. And in this whole battle between the wolves and the scars, she meets two people who are trying to escape from the scars. Because this one boy, Lev, cuts his hair because they're trying to make him a wife, but he didn't want that, so he cuts his hair so he could be a soldier. And then, they're now being chased by the scars to get out of there. And so, she meets them, manages to save them, they're working together. And so she's starting to see, wait, some of these people are just people, just like us. They grew up in a society, or they had a reason. And Owen, I thought, was a very interesting character because he was kind of pushing that a little bit. He was kind of like, hey, what's so different between them and us? When we joined the Fireflies, we joined because of a cause. So what's the difference there? So it's like kind of trying to get her mindset away from like, oh, all these people are just, they're evil people, they're the enemy. And so she slowly grows to the point where by the end of it, she's trying to save Lev and Yara, because even though they are the enemy, technically, they're people to her now. And I really like that moment whenever, even though Yara dies, it was really sad. I love the moment between her and Lev whenever Yara shoots Isaac, and then all the people shoot her, and then Lev and Abby get out of there, and Lev is just like, those were your people that killed her, and she's like, no, you're my people now. I just thought that was a great moment for Abby, and it really showed where her character had come from. So again, it's like everybody wants to hate on the fact it's like, oh, you're trying to make me care about this person, how dare you, like, oh, you're just trying to flip the script, oh, perspective, she's not an evil person. That's not the case. They're showing her growth as well, because she is her own character. Even though, yeah, she's the one that killed Joel, and I'm not exactly okay with that. I still am frustrated with the fact that she killed Joel, but at the same time, he did kill her dad. Like, I can sympathize with her reasoning. So, just throwing that out there for anybody who doesn't want to try to see it from anybody else's point of view, it is possible to do that. Even with somebody you don't necessarily like, it is possible to see their point of view. So anyway, all that is said and done, but ultimately, it still snaps back. Because she gets back to the aquarium, Mel and Owen are both dead, because Ellie went in, killed them both. So then she realizes she can track him down. That's when she goes into the theater, and that's where the first climax, really happens. And I found it interesting, because when I started playing as Abby in this scene, I'm thinking, okay, weird that I'm playing from Abby's point of view, but in reality, what this is Abby's freak out moment. Because Ellie did just kill her friends, and so she went in there, and now she's trying to kill Ellie because of what happened. So all of this is going on. She finally manages to best Ellie, and then Dina comes in, and Dina gets shot, and then she has a chance to kill Dina. Ellie's like, wait, she's pregnant, and of course, in Abby's mind, it's like, yeah, so was Mel, so who cares? But Lev reminds her, wait a minute, this isn't who you are anymore. And so she lets them live. She says, look, I see you again. I won't hesitate next time. We're done here. And I think that's Abby's story coming full circle. She had the chance to take revenge for all of her friends' life lost, but she didn't. Even though it would have been justified in her mind, she didn't do it because she didn't want that to be the next thing that happens. She lets them live. And so then we go to, Ellie and Dina are living on the farm with Dina's kid. Tommy shows up and is like, hey, I know where Abby is. And the thing is, yeah, Ellie at this moment has everything that she could need, with Dina and with the baby. But she doesn't have closure. And it's totally understandable to me that she would want to go get that closure. Because she didn't get it. Abby beat her. Abby humiliated her and then let her live. For her, the person who killed Joel, not only did she not get her revenge, but also that person then was the better person and said, I'm not going to kill you. Even though you killed all my friends, I'm not going to kill you. And she's got PTSD. You put all that together, yeah, she's going to go after Abby. I mean, it makes sense. Even though logically she should just stay there and enjoy her life with Dina, I can't fault her for wanting to go back after Abby. So it totally makes sense. It's not a black and white decision, very gray, muddled area. And then ironically, in going after Abby, she saves her from these rattlers. And then gets on the boat. That's when she has that moment. She's like, I can't leave this again. I can't leave this knowing that you're still out there. So then they get into the fight. And this time, mostly because honestly, in a fist fight, in a regular fight, Abby's going to best Ellie every time. I mean, Abby is built. They make a few references to that, but I can remember a few scenes where I'm just like, good God, her arms are the size of a mountain. Like, holy crap. So in a regular fight, yeah, Abby's going to win, but because Abby is weak, because she's been, hanging up there with no real food or anything, probably for, I think they said they got her like 2 months before Ellie showed up. So, of course, because of that, Ellie does manage to get the better of her and is, in that moment, is ready to kill her. But then she flashes back to that scene with Joel. And I did find a little bit weird that they showed, like, the beginning of that scene But I think what they were trying to show is she kept having flashes of Joel's dead body, but then this moment she had a flash of Joel still alive before he died. And I do kind of like that little touch, but then also they show the rest of that scene later, and I'm like, that could have easily gone in there too. Um, but because of that, she finds it in herself to say, you know what, I can't do this either. I'm not that type of person. I can't be. And so ultimately she lets her go. And I think for her, that is closure. She had the chance to. She had the chance to take her revenge, but she didn't because she's the better person. Now, I do think, there's still something with Tommy there that if they did want to go for Last of Us 3, I do think they could play on that storyline a little bit with Tommy still searching for revenge. But I do think for Ellie, now her story has finally come full circle. She finally had the chance to take that revenge, but then she didn't. I think it shows good character growth. And again, it comes down to not everything in life is black and white. As much as we would love it to be, it's not. So this is a game that shows that. This is a game that shows, hey, you know that person that killed your favorite character from the first game? Now you get to play as her and you get to see why she did it. And not only that, but you also get to see that she's not this evil human being that you probably thought she was playing from Ellie's point of view. Like, they did such a good job of that. I really don't understand why people are so like, oh no, I can't believe they made me play her. And don't get me wrong, I was somebody that the first time I took control, yeah, I killed her a few times. It's just something we're gonna do. Because until you make the connection of what they're trying to show, you're probably gonna feel that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not frustrated, but I'm just kind of bewildered that so many people are just like, no, this story was awful. I'm like, it wasn't. It's awful if you think of it from a narrow mindset of, oh, they were just trying to show that perspective anybody can be a villain or anybody can be a hero. When in reality, they're trying to show, no, this is what happens whenever you look at it from one point of view and think, I need to get my revenge. That revenge leads to a lot of innocent people getting caught in the crossfire. So, anyways, all that being said, I talked about the story way too long. But yeah, let's talk about some of the other elements of the game, though, that I really enjoyed. First of all, the graphics were fantastic. There were some scenes I'm like, that did they like literally just get a camera and shoot a scene and just put it in there, like slip it in amidst all the graphics? Because, man, it looked beautiful sometimes. And not only that, but I thought the transition from cutscene graphics to gameplay graphics were a lot more seamless than in the first one, understandably so. But it made me very excited to see what the PS5 is going to look like, because right now the graphics look amazing. I'm sure PS5 graphics are going to look great too. Gameplay wise, I really liked how they handled a lot of it. Again, not a fan of killing the dogs, especially after you realize they got a connection. And I will say there was one, even before I started playing as the wolves, or as Abby, there was one moment where, as Ellie, there was like a dog barking at me through a chain link fence, and I shot the dog, and the guy who owned the dog was like standing right behind it. I just heard him go, "No!" And I was like, "Oh God, that was probably his pup or so." No, it's rough. No pun intended. I'm not gonna joke about killing dogs. It's awful. It hurts. No, but as much as I hated that part, I will say it did add an interesting dynamic. The fact that the dogs can sniff out your location did make it kind of interesting, because you can't just hide in one spot anymore and just pick them off one by one. You actually have to move around a little bit. The one part of the game I did not enjoy is there were too many times where I felt like there were enemies coming out of nowhere. And I don't know, some of it was just I didn't fully understand the layout of the room, and there was like a hole in the wall that I didn't see that they popped out of. And like I'm sitting there, I'm shooting, I'm seeing all these people here shooting, and all of a sudden I get shot in the side. I'm like, where did you come from? Happened a few times, and then there were other times where I just felt like, I don't know, I looked around the map, I'm like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I got 6 guys, took out 6 guys, there's 3 more. Don't know where they came from. That was about the only issue I had, and it's not really a huge issue. It just, I don't know, it felt like the balance of it was a little off. I don't mind it being a bit more difficult, honestly, than the first game, because I just recently replayed the first game on the PS4, and there were definitely, there are moments I'm like, this is really easy. I feel like I'm just sort of sneaking around, taking out people, sniping them with arrows or bullets and stuff. I just felt like there were moments where I'm like, yeah, this is kind of easy. This one, very few times that I think, yeah, this is easy. In fact, there was one time I took out an entire group of people, like 10 of them, without raising the alarm or setting anybody off once. I just remember feeling so accomplished because I hadn't done that for the entire game, except for like a few times when there was only like three. But yeah, it definitely makes you feel more accomplished when you do manage to take out a whole group of people without alarming anyone. But for a majority of the game, though, I did find myself having to resort to guns and resort to using my weapons because it was harder for me to get through without getting noticed. Just because there were so many holes in the walls and there were extra things like dogs and people who, line of sight is just over the entire map because they're up on a balcony. So I thought they did a good job with that because it made it feel a bit more difficult. But as far as some of the other things they added, I liked some of the added weapons. I like some of the added, capabilities of like being able to go prone and crawl through grass. Um, Still didn't add anything for swimming, which I thought they might, but it's still just like you swim through and that's it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I did like the paths whenever you took the medicine, the little pills, the paths that you got whenever you unlocked them with the books and stuff. I like the different paths that had different abilities that you can unlock. And honestly, little touch, but I liked whenever you upgraded your gun, you actually got to see them go through the process. I do wish there was a way to speed it up a little bit because there were a couple times where I was just kind of like, all right, come on, let's go. But I liked getting to actually see them upgrade the gun and see them, clean out something to make the fire rate better or adding a new piece, to make the mag extended. Um, it was a small little touch, but I liked it. It was fun. Um, and then I also liked the fact that Abby and Ellie did feel different. Like, yeah, the gameplay was mostly the same, but they had different guns, they had different explosive devices, and they had different paths to take. As far as like abilities and how they tackled rooms. Honestly, Abby was much more of a Joel like character. She doesn't have the knife. She makes shivs, but she's very strong, so she is able to take on a lot of enemies. Whereas Ellie is much more of the sneaking around, trying to stay more silent. So I don't know. I liked how they handled that and made them feel like two completely different playable characters. Um, but I think that's about it for the game. So all in all, I mean, really really fun game. I don't know if they're gonna make another one. I feel like at this point they might make like a side story similar to what they did with like Ellie's story while Joel was injured and seeing her with whenever she got bit. They might do something like that maybe for like Tommy or something. But I would like to see more about this world because I liked the world building that they did. I liked getting to see the wolves and the scars and seeing the whole battle and seeing how there are humans on both sides. Getting to see a little bit more of Jackson and seeing the town has grown a lot and there are just regular people living there trying to make a living. I would like to see more of that. That's one of the things that I enjoy about The Walking Dead is getting to see how things changed after the apocalypse. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if there's going to be a third one. Personally, I don't think there's going to be one. Um, just because I feel like with this game, there are enough people put off by it that I feel like I don't know. I appreciate what they did. I think they did a good job. It wasn't just for shock value. It wasn't just to subvert your expectation. Like, it really was to show that actions have consequences. So I feel like if they were to do a third one, they would have to come up with a completely different type of story, a completely different, theme to it. So I feel like it would be hard for them to make a third one and make it as good as the first two. But who knows? We'll see. Yeah, I think that's about it. By the way, nice touch adding the boss in, because I did think that was a nice touch to have, like whenever Abby's going through the medical garage and stuff, and all of a sudden you meet the really big infected one. I kind of figured that's what they were gonna do in this game, with the added elements of like, new enemies and bloaters were much harder. I'm like, they're gonna add a boss for infected, aren't they? They did. It was pretty awesome. But anyways, all that being said, that's all of my opinions. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Do you agree with me on the story? Do you disagree? And if you disagree, please let's talk about it. I don't want to get into an internet war where you know how it is on the internet. Somebody disagrees with you. You're stupid. You're ignorant. You're just an idiot. I don't want any of that. If you disagree, if you have a reason, talk to me about it. Let's discuss it, not just argue and call each other stupid. Anyways, but yeah, let me know. Leave a like and subscribe for future video game reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.